So whenever I'm working with a dog, I think about the training starts the second they're around me. Even their downtime in the crate is them training, but like me being in here, we're already training. I'm not waiting until it's like we get outside and we start our active session. It's the second I'm engaging with the dog at all is training. Shh. So I have to be prepared for things like that right away. So right now I could be asking her for her sit or her down because I know that she knows those things. But her state of mind is telling me that's not what she needs right now. What she needs right now is for me to just set up experiences for her so that like, hey, let's just give you some options and opportunities to make decisions, and I'll agree or disagree with them. That's really all I'm doing right now. So that eager beaver staring at me is what she's probably just so used to doing at home, is like, show me what you want from me, show me what you want from me from an obedience standpoint, but I just want to let her start making decisions. So my goal for this session is like cleaning up follow, good, agreeing with that decision and that behavior of her laying down and just like waiting. But that doesn't mean that that's going to be where our session goes. We're going to work on some follow stuff, but like this might be where we spend majority of our time. The other part that I hope to accomplish during this session is letting her make decisions once I get her on the long line outside of like this OCD behavior that she does of like tracking every little leaf, and like she like launches her face into the ground and she just is so hyper fixated. I want to start to disagree with that behavior and agree with her just choosing to just be more relaxed and calm, not necessarily in a command, because at home her owner says she will do it nonstop if she doesn't put her in a command. And I don't want that to have to be what they always have to do. Of course, we're going to use commands when we need them, and we're in settings that it's just safer for us to implement that for Hazel and for her owner. But let's really work in here to figure out like what's the deep rooted cause of that, just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like intensity with the scanning, and the only way I can really put it is like an OCD tendency. So I just want to kind of see like what can we get instead of that, where some of it might be things that it's like these are Hazel quirks and that's okay, but I want to just overall make her head space feel much better. Good. Shh. So again, she can't hear my shush, but it's for my own timing. So it was shush, I tapped at a 10 out of 100 and took spatial pressure towards her. Still very jumpy, so I'm gonna take my time here. I'm also even gonna practice giving a little bit of leash pressure. She didn't come out, which is great, good. I was waiting till she would look at me to mark that. Leash pressure, shh. So where that can be confusing at times, I don't always want feeling of leash pressure to mean move. It can also be a proofing exercise for our stationary commands. Good. See how jumpy she is? Come get this angle for them so they can kind of just see like what I'm seeing and experiencing, like this just very eagerness. Shh, shh. Right there, I gave the shush and tap a bit sooner than her actually stepping out, because I want to start to, for her own peace of mind, interrupt that like eagerness. So that's where I kind of interrupted that. I saw the intention of moving forward to go step out, just like I would once we practice thresholds enough. It's like, I'm only gonna have the dog go in and out so many times. Eventually it will be a setting the tone kind of at that threshold before letting them continuously make the same mistake over and over again. Settling in, much better. Shh. No stim there, just me standing up in spatial pressure. I'm strategically choosing when I want to do that for the just slight edginess of coming out. She's thinking, she's got to think through this. It would be so much easier for me right now just to release her out because she's being good. She's not being naughty at all, but that's why she's here, is because this is so anticipatory all of the time, which is causing reactivity, anxiousness, just much more intensity overall for her and her owner. So this is so important to spend extra time on things like this. Good choices. Just really thinking. You can just tell she's super used to defaulting into her obedience. Just fine. We'll work her through that. The other 3 kiddos are pooped. Oh, she might have heard that. I'm going to test the tone out again. Can't tell. Good. 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 Shh. Shh. Good. Right there, it was just a low tap out of 4, and I used my hand as kind of that barrier of just like, slow down. Shh. Good. And a little leash backwards. Okay. Got to give a little extra. Okay. So I'm going to work through that again, and I'll kind of talk through what I think's taking place, but let's see what she gives me. Good. Good. Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, let's try that again, Mama. You're doing so good. Yes, it's so hard being Hazel sometimes. Right there, she wants to barge in now because again, she gets good at doing the same thing over and over again. So I put a little e-collar pressure on, dialed up until she headed my way, just as if it was a door threshold. Low level, tap, 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 tap. Good. So when she's getting a little confused with the break, release out, I don't want it to be where I'm just utilizing all leash guidance to get her out. Yes, that'll work, but what I'm going to start to add in is a little bit of a low stim tap if she's not getting that. Typically, I would put my tone on if a dog was getting kind of like stuck, like, wait, do you mean it, don't you? Because yes, during the learning phase, there is going to be some like, okay, well, we've practiced like not coming out so many times and now you're releasing me out. So we have to create clarity and practice around the release. And she can't hear my break. So I have to get creative of making sure it's clear that I am releasing her out of command. So if my hand signal and the leash guidance and body language backwards isn't giving her enough, I'm going to add a little low stim to go with it since I can't utilize my tone in this function. So not looking at me right now, so I'm going to start to kind of move my body around, maybe give a little leash guidance to get her retuned in with me. Good. Much better! Yay! So let me show you a difference of how I'm going to create clarity for her of me practicing leash pressure and not wanting her to move towards me, and me utilizing leash pressure and wanting her to release out. So I'm going to make my body language extremely dramatic for the release, and when I'm just practicing leash guidance, I'm going to be very like, almost like a statue. Yay! 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 Now practicing leash guidance, or like as if I don't want her to bust out. I'm going to be very stationary and create clarity around that. Gave leash guidance, just fixate on her buddy over here. Real big explosive body language when I do want her to release out, and very stoic clarity and simple and soft when I want it to just be like a little pressure to see if she's going to bust out and get anticipatory. Get in there. Get in there. So before we go outside, I just want to start working on a little bit of just stationary work with her of sit means sit no matter what. Moving towards me, I want you to wait for that visual and that information through the e-collar when I want you to move towards me, versus feeling like you move, I move, or I see something, I move towards it. Just want to, again, slow her down. I didn't ask for a down, so if she goes into a sit, that's totally fine. But I do want her to stay in that sit. Stay. Good. Good. See how much more expressive I am even with my face when I'm working with her? She sees it. She can feel that energy. And she's such a people dog. Like, she just loves people. So I know that utilizing me like this is a very good proofing thing for her. So that was a 2 out of 100. It was my shush, tap, step towards her for her sit, spatial pressure. And I'll probably utilize my stay much more often with her than what I do with other dogs, just to continue to give her that visual, because if it can help her, I'm going to do it. So very clear with my good, stay. And now I'm going to practice a release. That's good. Yay. Make it real dramatic. Like we're back in theater class, right? Yeah, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. You smell good. What kind of shampoo do you use? I need some. It's so soft. Okay, let's do a little more stationary work. All right, so I'm gonna get her moved. She wants to go into a down a lot. You're not tired. There's no way. Just for anyone watching this, if you are working with dogs that aren't yours and you're not comfortable with, I wouldn't step over the back of a dog that I would like immediately, because she's only on day 2, if I was concerned of a bite risk or something. So always take into consideration, I know every single dog can bite, but I know what dog I'm working with before I like make some of these choices. So even with her leash getting tangled in the crate like that, like I wouldn't reach back in after a leash if it like got tangled around a dog that would be concerned about biting me. So just take all that into consideration when you're watching like stuff that's behind the scenes and like not edited. Is everything is, you know, take it for what it's worth, for what you can see, because obviously there's a lot of reasons of why I'm making certain decisions. I'm always thinking about all of that throughout this process. I was never a dancer, Hazel, but I am now. Yay! Really, really cute. We're really, really cute. We're really, really cute. Are you ready to go outside? What do you think? Let's try it.